Mason Maxwell is here to tell you about the newest fad in personal transportation, the hovercraft.
Alright, before I start, I want to say two things. So, on the list of fears, most common fears, number 1 is public speaking, and below that, number 2 is death. So, if I mess up, don't get mad at me. Number 2, I've got Chucks on, so you can tell I'm serious. Alright, hovercrafts are awesome because they can be made simply, cheaply, and efficiently. A cool thing about hovercrafts is I hope they're the new transportation for humans and their pets, because who doesn't like pets? Another cool thing is they use all 3 of Newton's laws. 1, an object in motion stays in motion unless colliding with another object. So the hovercraft will move along. It usually runs into the wall or, well, actually, most of the time it just falls off the table. But the second one is force equals mass times acceleration. It uses that because it moves around and accelerates. And for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So the action is the air coming out of the balloon through the hole in the disc, and the reaction is it lifting off the ground or table. Hovercrafts work by the air coming down and creating a cushion below the hovercraft, a disc, or maybe some other thing like plastic or styrofoam or whatever you make it out of. So this is an example of my first hovercraft, which sadly did not work. The cushion of air below it was probably not strong enough, which means it probably wouldn't lift off the ground, so it couldn't move because there was too much friction. Alright, this is on my second hovercraft, which is the one over here on the table, and this one did work. I did it on the kitchen floor because I didn't want to risk it falling off the table, so I'd only have to take one video. So that one worked because it was lighter and the cushion of air below it would not have to be nearly as strong as for the styrofoam one. So these hovercrafts weren't very expensive. So the first one, which did not work, was probably only about $9 of household and purchased items. The balloon one, the one that did work, was only about $5 of household and purchased items. So the first one was like styrofoam, batteries, battery case, motor, and a trash bag. So they're not very expensive. A real rideable one that you can ride on like land and water, usually water, is a bit more expensive than that. So some practical uses for hovercrafts are like full-size ones. You could probably take it on a fishing trip, probably pretty loud for that. You could use it for a TED Talk. You could see I was running out of my days. So I don't like the practical uses because I like the fun stuff better. So the fun uses are mainly for these toy ones. So I put a treat in it so my dog could chase it around. Instead, it chased the dog around. There's a lot of things you can do with them. So yeah. This is a SketchUp model, and SketchUp, I made this, and SketchUp is a program where you can design and build things. It was pretty long, but that took a long time to make. So hovercrafts are awesome, and that's how they can be made cheaply, efficiently, and simply.
Walker will be speaking to us about Norse mythology. If you're like me and your only experience with that is Viking voyagers at Worlds of Fun, you should listen carefully to that.
Hello, my name is Walker and I'm here to talk about Norse mythology. First, to start with some history. Norse mythology was a way for Vikings to explain life. And I want to pause there. Explanation for life. That's what they used it for. And, well, some people might just skip over it today thinking it's not an important thing. And I'm here to talk about just the opposite of that. It's still important to a lot of people. And most people just think of mythology as people hitting each other with a bunch of sticks and magic. So, yeah. To start off, I will be talking about Thor, the Norse god of thunder. Thor was a very important god in Norse mythology and was actually the prince of a place called Asgard in Norse mythology. Thor is the son of Odin, the king of Asgard, obviously, and the brother of Loki, his actually adoptive brother. Moving on to the next person, which is Loki. Loki is the Norse god of mischief. And the look on his face sure didn't give that away. He was a very, naughty character in the Norse stories, and did a lot of tricks and mind control. Alright, moving on to the next thing, Valhalla. Alright, Valhalla is basically the Norse version of heaven. Valhalla is the Norse explanation of where fallen warriors go when they died in battle. It is also the place where most things are in Norse mythology. The Valkyries, Odin sometimes, and lots of other gods. Moving on to Jotunheim, spelled with a J. I don't know, they just don't like spelling things oddly. Jotunheim was in the Norse stories the place where the frost giants lived. The first frost giant ever to live there was Ymir. Ymir was the king of the frost giants for some time until, surprise, surprise, Asgardians came and murdered him. Before he was killed, he had a giant cow. Must really like beef and milk. And they killed the cow too. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on my Norse mythology presentation. I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.